Hello and welcome back to Fintech Chatter. I'm Dexter Cousins, your host and the founder of Tier 1 People, the executive search firm that's dedicated to helping high-growth fintech companies hire exceptional people. This is part 3 of our special series on finding your next role in fintech. Quick recap: in episode 1, you built your career balance sheet. In episode 2, you crafted your professional brand. Today, we're talking about the most important part of this entire series, networking. But not the way most people do it. So let's go. Most people would accept that staying fit requires regular focused exercise, small daily habits done consistently well over time. But when it comes to careers and networking, most people lie on the sofa, eating chips, drinking beers, and watching sport, not playing it. They go 3 years without talking to anyone in their network. Then they realize they've gained 20 Ks professionally, they're out of shape, and they can't climb the career stairs. Then they panic, go crazy with networking, do coffee meetings everywhere, LinkedIn messages flying around, super desperate energy. And it takes years of hard work to get back in career shape. Now here's the thing, you wouldn't train for a marathon by doing nothing for 3 years, then running 100 kilometers the week before the race. And your network works the same way. Small, consistent effort beats desperate sprints every time. Now, before I give you my networking framework, you need to understand this. 95% of your results will come from 5% of your network. Not 10%, not 20%, but 5%. Now, when I launched Tier 1 People back in 2016, I had 5,000 contacts in my database. 5,000 people. Now, I would have in the past probably emailed all 5,000 and done a spray and pray. But when you've got your own business and the stakes are on the line, you need to do something differently. What I did was to filter it down using a special method that I'll show you in a minute. Now, I've been in recruitment for 25 years, so my network is bigger than most people's. Your 5% might be 10 people. It might be 50. It might be 200. The number doesn't matter. It's the principle that does. So here's your first lesson. Stop trying to network with everyone and start identifying your critical 5%. Here's how I filtered down 5,000 contacts to make 5%. So I broke my network down into 3 tiers. Tier 1 was former clients who had given me hiring roles in the past. Now for you, it could be former managers, bosses, or colleagues who are now in hiring positions. They know what it's like to work with you, and they're now in a position to hire. They're what I'd call Tier 1 contacts. Now, when I did this exercise, I had approximately 100 Tier 1 people. You might have 5, you might have 30. It depends on how long you've been working and how many jobs you've had. So Tier 2 is influential people with big networks. These might be clients who've paid you money. Could be law firm partners, could be accounting firm partners, investment bankers, private equity partners, VC partners, board members, sales reps. These are people whose entire job is knowing other people. Now, when I applied this filter to my network of 5,000, I had 150 Tier 2 people. Tier 3, well, that's everyone else. My other 4,750 contacts, they're still part of my network. They're just not my 5%. What most people get wrong is they treat everyone in their network the same. They'll send the same message to 500 people on LinkedIn. But you're going to focus on your 5%. Here's how you can do this exercise right now. Step 1, you're going to export your LinkedIn connections. Go to settings and privacy, get data, download your connections. You'll get a spreadsheet within 24 hours with all your contacts. Step 2, you're going to add 3 columns to that spreadsheet. Column 1 is Tier 1. Column 2, Tier 2. And column 3 is Tier 3. Self-explanatory, right? Step 3, you're going to filter for Tier 1. So go through the spreadsheet. Who are your former bosses? Who are people you've worked with before who are now in hiring positions? Former managers who know your work, colleagues who've moved up and now run teams. They could even be founders themselves. People who've seen you in action and are now the decision makers. If they know what it's like to work with you and they're now in a position to hire, they're tier one. So mark them as tier one in your spreadsheet. Step 4, you're going to filter for tier 2. Who has a massive network? Who are the connectors? Accounting firm partners, law partners, investment bankers, VC partners. Remember, it's people whose entire job is knowing other people. Mark them as tier 2 in your spreadsheet. And then step 5, everyone else is tier 3. You might have 2,000 LinkedIn connections. Most of them are going to automatically be tier 3. Now count how many people you marked as tier 1 and tier 2 combined. If it's not quite 5%, don't worry, but these are the people you're going to contact. Now, before I show you what works, let me show you what doesn't work. Here's an example of an email I'll receive at least 4 or 5 times per day. And in brackets is what the other person is actually thinking. Hi X, how are you? Brackets. I've not heard from this person in 3 years, so they must want something. Not sure if you heard, but I was made redundant the other day. Brackets. Oh no, this is the 10th person this week that's asked me to find him a job. I'm on the market and I've attached my CV. Would love to catch up for a coffee. My shout. Wow, coffee costs $5 and they want to spend an hour with me? Is that all my time is worth to this person? I pay $250 an hour to see a therapist. Can you see the problem? You're leading the message with your need. You're asking for too much, and you're valuing their time at the price of a flat white. This is why you don't hear back. Now, here's what actually works, and I'm going to share with you the actual message that I sent way back 10 years ago when I started Tier 1 People. Hi X, I've made the crazy decision to start my own recruitment business. I have a few ideas on how to change the service so I can deliver better outcomes at a more affordable price. As a past client and someone whose opinion I deeply respect, I know you'll call BS on me. You could help me validate my thinking or prevent me from making the biggest mistake of my life. Do you have a few minutes to chat and I can share my ideas? Now, that one simple email got me 60 meetings confirmed in 3 days. Your situation might be different. You might not be starting a business. You might be exploring your next role. So here's a template you can adapt. Look, it's the same psychology, just a different situation. Now let me break down why these work and why they're completely different from that first example. Let's look at the psychology. So if we look at my message first, I've made the crazy decision to start my own recruitment business. I'm being vulnerable. I'm not pretending I have it all figured out. As a past client and someone whose opinion I deeply respect, I'm being specific. This person was a client. I respect them for a reason, and this isn't a mass email. I know you'll call BS on me. Now, this is the key line because I'm giving them permission to be brutally honest. I'm saying I can handle it, and people love being the person who tells it straight. You could help me validate my thinking or prevent me from making the biggest mistake of my life. It's high stakes, but real. And I'm positioning them as the person who can help me. And people want to be that person. Do you have a few minutes to chat and I can share my ideas? Not an hour, not coffee, not lunch, just a quick conversation. That's easy to say yes to. And if you say no to it, you're going to realize that you're being an absolute jerk. So let's look at the template version that I've provided. I'm thinking about a few possible career paths. You're not desperate, you're being thoughtful, you're exploring options. As someone I highly rate and whose opinion I trust, same principle as before, you pick them specifically. I wondered if you had 2 minutes to chat. 2 minutes is incredibly hard to say no to. I know you won't sugarcoat things. It's permission to be honest. As I said, people love this. The structure is the same in both. First of all, you've got context, what you're doing. 2, why them specifically. 3, you're giving them permission to be honest. And 4, it's a small, easy ask for them to help you. Now, here's the irony. Most people will give you more than 2 minutes, way more. In fact, for me, most people invited me to lunch or for a coffee. But what you've done is you've made it easy for them to say yes. And that is all this email is about. It's just getting the opportunity to connect with people. When I sent this message to my 5%, I set myself a goal of 100 coffees in 100 days. And I had 60 meetings confirmed within 3 days of sending the emails. Now, from those 100 emails, I got 60 meetings confirmed. That's a 60% response rate. Not because I'm special, but because the message made it easy to say yes. And because I sent it to the right people, my 5%. Now, here's what happened in those meetings. They introduced me to people in their network. T2 people connecting me to more T2 people. They told me about opportunities before they were posted, hidden job market stuff. They became clients. They referred clients. They opened doors. But here's what they didn't do. They didn't give me a job on the spot, and I wasn't asking for one. I was building relationships, and I was activating my 5%. So let's go through the maths. If you email 500 people randomly, a 2% response rate is going to be normal. That's going to be anywhere between 10 and 12 conversations. Most won't be valuable because you didn't filter. Now, if you email your critical 5%, a 60% response rate is achievable. Now, even if your 5% is only 20 people, that's 12 high-value conversations. Same amount of work sending emails, completely different results. And this is why the 95-5 principle matters. Most people have got it backwards. They think more contacts equals more opportunities, but they couldn't be more wrong. Better contacts equal better opportunities. Your critical 5% properly filtered will beat 5,000 random contacts every single time. Now, what's important when you get on the call is the questions that you ask. Here's an example. Thanks for making the time. Here's where I'm at. Give them one sentence about your situation. I've identified a few possible directions. This is where you're going to use your professional brand exercise from episode 2. Remember that? The person that you want to be known for? I wanted your perspective because, and then a specific reason why you value their opinion. So the next question, based on what you know about me and the market right now, what would you do if you were me? Then shut up and listen. They'll talk for way longer than 2 minutes because you've asked a good question. You haven't asked for a job, you've asked for advice. And a little mantra I want you to remember is that if you ask for a job, you'll get advice. And if you ask for advice, you'll get a job. Now, at the end, you want to say something along the lines of, hey, this is really helpful. Is there anyone else you think I should talk to? Now, here's the cool thing about taking this approach. You won't even have to ask for other people to speak to. Because the way that most people are wired is that they really want to help. And once you ask somebody for their advice and opinion, and they tell you what they think you should do, they feel some form of obligation to make that happen for you. And so the beauty of this approach is that you're going to expand your network of tier 1 and tier 2 people organically. So here's how it actually all works in practice. When you ask people for 2 minutes, they'll ask you to go for a coffee. When you ask someone for advice and their honest opinion, they'll give it. I've never met a single person who didn't enjoy telling me what they really thought. Remember that as soon as somebody says, hey, Dexter, I think you should do X, they're going to feel responsible for helping me to do it. And they'll usually follow up with, hey, let me introduce you to Y. This is the compound effect of networking. The sad thing is, nearly everybody else misses out on these opportunities because they go in hard on the first email, asking for a job, sharing a resume, or asking for a meeting, when what they really need to do first is get someone's attention. The 2-minute ask gets attention. The honest conversation creates investment. The investment creates introductions, and the introductions create opportunities. And that's how networks actually work. Now, let me tell you a little story about trust. I was at a networking event many years ago, talking to the CFO of an ASX-listed financial services company, one of my clients, and we were having a very pleasant chat. A sales rep rudely pushed past me and announced himself to the CEO, trying to push his business card into her hand. She calmly put her hands behind her back and said, "You don't need to give me that. What you need to do is find someone I know and trust and have them give it to me. Brutal, but fair, because this guy was rude. But it taught me a valuable lesson about trust and networks. Most people blow so hard trying to force connections and build trust and credibility from scratch. Cold emails, cold LinkedIn messages, cold introductions, forcing business cards on strangers at events. They're trying to build trust with someone who doesn't know them. That takes months, sometimes years. But there's a shortcut. Leverage the relationships you already have. When your former boss introduces you to their colleague, you don't start at zero. You start at 50, 60, 70%. You borrow their trust, their credibility, and their relationship capital, and you invest it. And that's why the warm introduction is 10 times more powerful than cold outreach. The CEO didn't want a business card from a stranger. But if someone she trusted had said, "You should meet this person, they're excellent at X," she would take that meeting immediately. The same applies to you, so stop trying to cold email your way into companies and start asking your critical 5% for introductions. Who else should I be talking to? That's one question that unlocks warm introductions to people you'd never reach out to on your own. And you arrive pre-endorsed, and that's the fastest way to build trust and credibility. Not by forcing it, but by borrowing it from people who already have it with the person you need to meet. So as we wrap up, let's remember that 95% of your results will come from 5% of your network. So stop trying to network with everyone. Filter your network into tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. Use the message structure, context, why them, permission to be honest, and small ask. Start doing this before you need a job. Remember, it's the only way to stay in shape professionally. Now, in the next episode, we're going to be going through the interview, and I'm going to show you how to, like you're diagnosing their business, not begging for a job. I'm Dexter Cousins, and you can find me on LinkedIn, follow us on YouTube, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And until the next episode, keep well.